The People Playbook is for professional business owners and leaders who understand business rises and falls on people. You will hear practical, real-world conversations on clear leadership, smart hiring, and building strong teams. All formulas for retention. Get ready to hear your professional peers and industry experts as they discuss lessons learned and best practices. Get that journal out. You'll be taking lots of notes.
Chanclas y Cervezas is the official fiesta event at Brooks that we hold every year. We're actually in the 7th year of it now. It's going to be held this next Saturday on the 18th. Let me tell you all, if you want to have fun at an official fiesta event, drink some beer, throw chanclas, while still enjoying pretty much a family environment, Chanclas y Cervezas is where you need to come. We're going to crown a king and a queen for the best chancla throwers. So come, do your best. Join us, $15 online at livebrooks.com or $20 at the door.
Welcome to the People Playbook, where each episode features practical, real-world conversations around leadership best practices and the lessons learned, where we focus on what actually works inside growing organizations. Each episode will deliver you an actionable tip that will align business strategy with people strategy. I am your host, Coach Cora, a trusted advisor to organizational leadership for over 25 years. I have worked with top leaders through to the front line across industries, across company size, and within many different business cycles. I've also had the opportunity to work with many of our very own Texas treasures. Speaking of a Texas treasure, we have a legend with us today to discuss the mechanics and importance in partnerships. Leo, my dear friend.
How you doing, Miss Cora?
Oh my gosh, I'm just so excited to have you here.
Oh, great to see you smile. You always have smiled. Big old smile.
I can't help it. I do bring a little bit of energy, don't I?
It's wonderful. It's like we haven't, stopped from seeing each other for, it's like I saw you yesterday.
It feels like it, right?
Yeah.
You just walked in like, oh, there you are, Leo.
There's Laura.
Okay. Well, you know what? Currently, you're the CEO and president of Brook City Base.
That's what I'm doing nowadays. I've been doing it for the last 13 years, actually.
13 years? How did that happen?
It just flew by, didn't it?
We knew each other when you used to work as the VP of Governmental Affairs at the Spurs.
That's correct.
We had a blast.
We had a great time.
We had so much fun there.
I hope they're still having fun over there.
I bet they are.
I know they are.
You also spent time with Toyota.
I did. I spent almost 3 years with Toyota in between 2 tours with the Spurs, because after Toyota, I returned to the Spurs before I went to Brooks.
So you have really been involved with some real San Antonio treasures.
I've been blessed. I've been involved in some incredible opportunities in our community, some opportunities that have an impact on a lot of people in our community.
Absolutely.
And I've been grateful to be a part of it.
Absolutely.
Always working with great people, making things happen.
Well, and that's what I know of you, my personal experience, and I know you've been recognized for this as well. You know how to bring people together.
I don't know any other way, Cora. I mean, how else do you succeed?
Yeah. And there are organizations that try to operate in a silo.
There are, and there are organizations that have silos within.
That's true.
That prevent them from moving forward, right?
Yes.
You can't, silos are not good.
Yeah.
They just aren't. Relationships is the name of the game, no matter what you're talking about.
Yeah. Even within an organization, I remember one of the things that you were tasked with was this new group. Like, hey, bring everybody together from every level, every department, and have them innovate.
It was one of the things I enjoyed the most at the
that.
Spurs because, yes, I was responsible for bringing together the group of mid-level managers from all the various departments and getting us all to work together on an exercise and really work together and get to know each other besides our daily tasks so that we could then perform really well when it came to the daily tasks.
I love that. Yeah. So for those that aren't really clear what we mean when we say Brook City Base, you're the CEO of Brook City Base. Can you give a capsule of what that is for our listeners?
Absolutely. Brook City Base, we actually just call it Brooks now because it's not even a city base.
That's
and
right.
It's not a base. It was an Air Force base for over 100 years, which closed in early 2002 or so. And the Air Force completely left it. All the missions of the military left in 2011. So we as a community ended up with 1,308 acres of what used to be an Air Force to try to develop into something productive in our community. And that's what we are all about at Brooks today.
Nice. Nice. Thank you. And I remember years ago going over there when it was closing down as a base and they were opening it up to the city. And you had a vision, and there had to be this vision. What would that look like? And here's where we're going to go. And you got to be tasked with that. And one of the things I've heard you say, and I would love for you to share it with others and what that means to you, is we don't follow the data. We drive the data. And that's so important. Can you share a little bit what that means to you and where you came up with that?
Yeah, how dare I think that, huh?
I know,
But,
right?
I have a lot of respect for our colleagues that are economists in this world. And I was on a panel with literally two economists and me. I don't know how that happened. But, they went first and they were talking about how important it was to study the data, follow the data, look for the trends and follow those trends. And that just rubbed completely opposite of the way I do things. And I looked at them too when it was my turn, and I said, with all due respect, we at Brooks, I don't follow the data. I drive the data. And what I meant by that was I wasn't being flippant. You have to study the data. You have to know the data.
Agreed.
But if all you're doing is following the trend, you're going to get what you've always gotten. Mm-hmm. And if you really want opportunity to succeed, you identify the gaps. Yeah. And you put together a strategy for closing those gaps. That's the opportunity. Mm-hmm. That's where the return on investment can be so much greater than if you just follow the trend.
Yeah. And that was so well demonstrated when we talk about Brooks City Base struggled a little bit. And then when you really shifted, right?
It did, Cora. Our community's leadership in the first 10 years of the Brooks Development Authority trying to repurpose the base, the mission was to try to redevelop it as a private research, science, and technology park, leveraging the assets, quote unquote, that the military had left behind. Right. Well, we as a community discovered that there's a reason the military left them behind. And the private sector was not, taking advantage of those assets because they weren't the assets that they used to be. And so when the opportunity came for a new CEO, and it happened to be me, I began asking people, well, what is it that the community wants? Nice. What are the gaps? What is it that the community does not have that it has been striving for, almost begging for in Southeast San Antonio? And what I found was a community that was incredibly hungry for things that are just as good as in any other part of town. And it was those gaps that we focused on. And it's incredible. The demand has met the supply we have put on the ground. Nice. $2 billion worth of development in a 10-year period, Cora. That has been incredible for Southeast San Antonio, which I would argue then has been good for all of San Antonio. Because when you lower the poverty rate in one corner of our community, it's good for all of our community.
100%. This is Coach Cora with Leo Gomez on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and we're discussing the importance of partnerships and in closing the gaps. And so that happened as a result of you identifying the need. What do they need? And if I'm going to give you something you need, then you're going to respond to that. And the other thing, I love the idea that you came up with. You had a vision. You had a very clear vision, right? Yeah. And you talked about it's much easier to communicate a vision based on a need than on a strategy. And you said, I wanted to create building Brooks believers.
Absolutely. Brooks believers, first and foremost, among the very people from that community. To believe in themselves, right? To do that, we had to give them something they really aspired to, that they really hungered for. And we had to show them that that was our intent, right? And then we had to build believers out of folks who knew what you could or could not do in this part of town. I have incredible friends in industry throughout San Antonio who were born and raised in San Antonio, and their careers were here in San Antonio. They knew what you could and could not do on the south side of town, right? And as much as I tried to convince them, it was difficult at first. There were some pioneers, and I'm very grateful to them here in San Antonio. But for the first big infusion investment at Brooks, I really had to look outside of town, and I had to go find partners outside of town. And I went and met people I didn't know. brought them to Brooks, told them the story, shared our vision, and they considered it a no-brainer. So when they started investing, guess what all our friends in San Antonio started doing?
That's right.
When we started proving up the first projects, then others wanted to get in on the action. And we didn't say, tough, buddy. You weren't with us in the first wave. No, it was a part of getting the rest of San Antonio to believe. And that's where we're at. And we still have a ways to go in getting people to believe. It's amazing what happens when someone who's never been to this corner of San Antonio all of a sudden tries to go to a restaurant in this corner of San Antonio on a Saturday afternoon.
Oh, my gosh.
Good luck finding a parking spot.
And it's interesting. We're all products of our perspective.
Absolutely.
And if my vision or my belief or my experience is this, I can't see it differently until somebody else does.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, Cora. And people find it hard to believe. Over $2 billion of development on 1,300 acres that used to be an Air Force base in southeast San Antonio. Let me tell you what's wonderful about that. For 100 years plus, we had a couple of thousand, about 2,500 employees at the base coming to the base every morning from somewhere else in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, they were leaving to somewhere else in San Antonio and taking their paychecks with them.
Yeah.
Now we have built opportunities for people to work at Brooks, live at Brooks, have their kiddos in schools at Brooks, keeping their paychecks at Brooks and spending it at the restaurants at Brooks.
Yeah.
And that's what's making it happen.
And now, Leo, I hear this all the time when you say, oh, where can we meet for coffee or where do you want to go? And people actually, they're building this whole culture around it. You'll hear, well, I'm a South Side vibe kind of person, so let's go to the South Side. It's just becoming a desirable part of town. They want to live there. They want to work there. They want to go there.
You used a great word there, culture. We are creating a Brooks culture, a Brooks community that people love. And not just the people who reside there or work there. I keep running into people who work downtown, for example, and the easiest place to go have lunch for them is actually to go 10 minutes south on the highway to Brooks.
Yeah.
And they are welcome to join me when I go to the quarry 10 minutes to the north.
Yes.
But you also have Brooks as an option 10 minutes to the south. You won't have issues with parking. I hesitated there because that's getting tougher and tougher as we get more and more popular.
It's a great problem to have.
But it's a great problem to have. Cora, if I may, the Brooks Believers have led us to a point where we now have 3 high schools on 1,300 acres.
Wow.
We have a medical school. We have 3 hotels. We have 6 existing residential communities. 8 existing residential communities with another 6 literally under construction.
Wow.
A hospital, medical offices, etc. A Green Line Park that we will be celebrating, the Chanclas y Cervezas Festival on this next Saturday on the 18th.
Yes.
But, it's a beautiful park. We love our green space. We love the development. We are en route to have 9,000 to 10,000 people living on what used to be the Air Force Base, literally just 10 minutes south of downtown San Antonio.
And I would offer, Leo, as much as it's become a part of San Antonio and people are coming south, you're also drawing in, I live in Floresville, and I know Floresville and Pleasanton, they now come to Brooks for what they need. They're not even going northern.
Cora, my first year on the job at Brooks, I hired some of the same consultants you and I know from the Spurs. And I asked them to help me come up with a strategy to attract the rest of San Antonio to this corner of San Antonio. They came back in short and tell me, you're looking the wrong way. Your market is in Atascosa and Wilson counties.
Oh, my gosh.
Your market is
That's
the
me.
85 to 100,000 cars
100%.
that are passing by here every morning
100%.
and every afternoon. And that lit a light bulb. We got to work on what they wanted, and here we are.
Yeah, I agree. That's the area, 100%.
There was a gap that they wanted filled. We identified the gap, and we got to work at it.
There you go. And you did it through some partnerships. This is Coach Cora with Leo Gomez on 9:30 a.m. The Answer, and we're discussing partnerships and how that contributes to success. Leo, you are a leader in our community. And you've been recognized for that formally. You've been referred to as a legend for your impact on this city by the South San Antonio Chamber. Other recognitions, you've been featured as a notable person in San Antonio. They even recognize you as a real estate influencer and broker, right? And that you never saw that one coming.
I didn't. I have a lot of friends in the real estate community who are just, what do you know about real estate? And I'm like, well, I don't know anything, but here's $2 billion worth of development, right?
Right. And for our listeners out there, they are leaders, they own business. And one of the things that has contributed successfully to the success of the projects you're involved with is partnerships. How do I find those partners that we can create mutual wins? How do I approach them? What are some mechanics? You are so good at bringing people together. How do I do that?
Cora, I don't know that there's a specific formula. I tend to just do what I think you're supposed to do. Right. And what you're supposed to do is have a vision for people to understand and buy into that leaves room for them to add to. Right. And when you do that, you bring people aboard. And when you spend the time, and I really believe, I'm a big believer in one-on-one meetings, one-on-one coffee, breakfast, lunch, whatever, my grandma used to say something in Spanish that I carried to heart into my career. Con hablándose la gente se entiende. And, quickly translated, that's basically by talking to each other, we understand each other. And when you do that for good or when you have problems and that need to be resolved, the best way to do it is to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and have a conversation about it. So you do that with people. You share your vision, and then you invite them to help you make it better.
Love that.
And that's what I and my team at Brooks does. That's what our board of directors help us do. Our partnership with the San Antonio City Council, the mayor, the city, the city manager's office, and his team. We wouldn't be where we are without all of them. And there's no one person over there that makes it happen or not. So you've got to be able to communicate with multiple parties and bring them on board. And it's wonderful when they come on board almost themselves because they believe in what you're doing if you effectively communicate that. The same thing we've done with the county and the county's leadership. The county judge and the commissioners and the county staff have been incredible in working with us and supporting us. One of the greatest partners that we have is Greater SATX. And that's the organization currently led by Sarah Corabias Rush that is responsible for economic development initiatives for the city, for the community of San Antonio, the region of San Antonio. Without them, for example, we have 6 manufacturing companies located at Brooks that represent a few thousand employees that are the result of foreign direct investment. Foreign companies interested in establishing a manufacturing operation at Brooks. We have them at Brooks, and they started with leads from Greater SATX, from Sarah and her team. And that team, helps us actually meet the prospects overseas, work with them, and do what we need to do to encourage them to come not just to the U.S., but to Texas, to San Antonio, and to Brooks. And so it's those partnerships. And then once you get them there, the very executives you have, the very residents you have on the community become your partners.
That's right.
Because when an executive that has a company that came out of France comes to Brooks and loves what he's doing at Brooks and has friends who owns companies back in France that are looking for an opportunity in the U.S. as well and refers that executive to us at Brooks, something's right.
Even years ago, Toyota was a result of a lead and an invitation.
You're absolutely right. And then that turned to a good number of tier 1 suppliers literally on the site.
Right.
And other things that Toyota is doing, not only in San Antonio, but now in Mexico and other parts of Latin America. Yeah. So, partnerships, relationships is the name of the game. I had someone, with all due respect, tell me one day that it's all about the contracts. With all due respect, it's not all about the contracts. It's amazing what you can do outside of the contracts if you have a good relationship with the person that you just sat down with to have a cup of coffee and try to work something out.
That's right. And I love kind of your explanation is that there's not a formula, there's not a task list. It's a mindset that I don't have to see the city or the county as enemies or as a barrier. I can see them as partners.
Absolutely. You know why, Cora? Because I know, we should all know, every organization is made up of people.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
It's not like you're dealing with organization.
It's not a
it, right? Every organization is made up of people. And if you do your homework and understand who the people are within an organization, what makes them tick, what excites them, what they are not favorable to, et cetera, and you do your homework and you sit down with them and have a conversation, they'll realize you did your homework.
That's right.
And they'll appreciate it.
When I owned a restaurant, it was really interesting to watch the transition of our employees because they had been conditioned to believe that food service inspectors were the enemy and you had to hide things from them. And when I owned a restaurant, I invited them in and said, educate us. May I walk with you? Can you talk to me? What can we do better? And it changed the whole relationship with them because they went from, I'm going to find you something to do, to they would much rather help me be better. As human beings.
They really would.
They would much rather, if you're open to it, it changes the whole relationship. Therefore, that changes the outcome.
They get to know you. They get to know what's important for you. They probably have a mijo and a mija. You might have a mijo and a mija somehow or another. And when you get to know each other,
right,
and what matters to you, you help each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yeah. Thank you for that. And so, for those out there that it's been said, Leo, that it can be challenging for people coming into San Antonio and wanting to start a business, and they struggle. And it's been said for years because San Antonio is a relationship-based city. Do we think San Antonio is different from other cities, or is that just learn how to have relationships? Because I hear that all the time. Well, San Antonio is about relationships. It's not about coming in here and doing business in a silo.
Cora, I love San Antonio.
Me too.
But I've been to other communities and I've been to other countries. People are people.
Nice.
And everywhere you go, people more than likely love their community and are open to welcoming others into their community for the most part.
Right? Of course.
And I really think it's about relationships no matter where you are.
Nice.
And, that's not just a San Antonio thing. San Antonio does a very good job of it.
I agree. I agree.
But, so do other communities. And so it's not a matter of where, it's a matter of your heart and in you. And can you share that with others so that they share theirs with you? That's what I really believe, Cora.
Yeah. And, it's been interesting. I think one of the things people really succeed in business is when they do give to, say, a nonprofit. Maybe I don't know people and I don't know how to have access to them. But if I get on a board or a committee or I volunteer, I can meet other people. And sometimes it's just you got to start meeting people if you don't know anybody.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you serve on a board of a nonprofit. Who are you going to meet? By definition, you're going to meet business leaders. You're going to meet community leaders, et cetera. It's a great way to start a network and start building on it. And then when you meet those 11 people, if you ask each of them to introduce you to 2 or 3 people, before you know it, you got a network that is how many? And then you do it again.
That's right.
And, that's the way to do it. And I believe in doing it one coffee cup at a time.
I love that. One coffee cup at a time. And we have plenty of coffee shops there at Brooks.
We do.
Thank you so much, Leo, for sharing your experiences, sharing your thoughts. And of course, thank you so much for what you've done for our city. What you've built there at Brooks is amazing. So thank you to you, to your team, and of course, all of the partners that were involved in doing that. And I know that they are also now doing that at the Port of San Antonio.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Absolutely.
Right? So thank you for all that you've done for our great city.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you. And thank you, San Antonio, for the opportunity. San Antonio is in my heart, and it's just a wonderful place to be.
It is. Remember, your business rises and falls on people. Building partnerships that are sustainable include people and network and cups of coffee. If you'd like to learn more about how to build your business through people, go to Coach Cora to the homepage, click Book with Me, set up a complimentary Q&A conversation, because there's nothing I love more than talking to people. And we can go have a cup of coffee too.
Wonderful. Chanclas y Cervezas is the official fiesta event at Brooks that we hold every year. We're actually in the 7th year of it now. It's going to be held this next Saturday on the 18th. Let me tell you all, if you want to have fun at an official fiesta event, drink some beer, throw chanclas, while still enjoying pretty much a family environment, Chanclas y Cervezas is where you need to come. We're going to crown a king and a queen for the best chancla throwers. So come, do your best. Join us, $15 online at livbrooks.com or $20 at the door.
Thank you for listening to the People Playbook. For more information, Coach Cora can be found on LinkedIn and at CoachCora.com. Let's meet here next Saturday, 2 p.m. on 9:30 a.m. The Answer.